Scholarly research has established that places with smaller, less costly, less monopolistic governments tend to experience higher rates of economic growth and social progress. Here in North Carolina, legislative reformers have been traveling the path toward limiting government and reforming its functions since 2011, and the state is already benefiting. Still, North Carolina has a lot more room to grow when it comes to embracing freedom. And a new tool created by the Locke Foundation researchers illustrates the opportunities and challenges ahead. Joining us to talk about the First in Freedom Index is Dr. Terry Stoops. He's Director of Research and Education Studies for the Locke Foundation. Dr. Stoops, welcome back to the show.
Thank you.
What did you look at when coming up with the First in Freedom Index?
We looked at dozens of variables in four major areas: fiscal, education, regulatory, and healthcare. So we just focused on four areas. There are a lot of other areas we could have focused on. A lot of the other indexes that we used as a reference point for this one looked at all kinds of variables in areas of personal freedom. But we felt that these four areas are the most important areas for states to have reforms that would make them more free and more prosperous. So that's why we limited to those four.
As you looked at the data from a variety of sources, were you looking to compare North Carolina to other states? Is that the goal?
That's right. The data had to be available for other states because we want to see where we rank in freedom, what we can do to make North Carolina more free, and, for other states to be able to use this index to make their state more free. So we looked at data that's available for all the states, and it comes from various sources, from nonprofit organizations, from the federal and state governments, and from researchers and academia. So the data is broad, it's vast, and of course it covers each of the states and does not include District of Columbia.
Let's talk about the details here. Overall, then, where does North Carolina rank in freedom?
Well, we're about in the middle. We rank 23rd overall in freedom, and really there are two areas that we fall short in, and that would be the healthcare and the regulatory variables certainly bring our ranking down considerably, whereas in education and fiscal areas, we do fairly well. Now, our goal is first in freedom. We want to be number one. We want to replace Florida, which is the number one state, by making sure that our tax code, our education, our regulation, our healthcare systems are all as free and as free as possible.
Now, you mentioned taxes, and let's talk more about that, because you say that it is because of the recent tax reform that was put into place by the legislature and the governor that we are ranking actually quite well in terms of fiscal freedom. Tell us about it.
Right. We're ranked 16th in fiscal freedom, and it is due to the lowering of tax rates that was led by the Republican legislature. And it's important to note that those states that lead the pack in the fiscal area are states that have eliminated some of their tax areas or have very low rates. So in order for us to be competitive with those states, we have to look at further tax reform, because only through further tax reform can we improve our ranking in the fiscal area and help businesses and individuals be more prosperous.
So number 16 for fiscal freedom, but then you take a look at health care and we are not doing well at all.
Yeah, and it's kind of deceptive because one of the things about our healthcare system is there are so many federal mandates involved that there's only a limited number of things that a state can do to improve their healthcare system. We have Obamacare, we have Medicaid, we have Medicare. We have so many federal programs and so much federal money that it would take an act of Congress to give us more freedom in the healthcare area, and hopefully we'll see that soon. But until then, North Carolina will probably rank in the bottom quartile of states.
All right, so fiscal freedom, number 16, healthcare freedom, number 46. Let's fill in the middle here. Your area of particular expertise, education.
Yes, we rank 18th in education freedom, and one of our strongest areas are our homeschool population. One of the variables that we include in the ranking is homeschool population and percentage of students in homeschools. And we have a very good share showing as well in our private school choice program, our Opportunity Scholarship Program, and our Special Needs Scholarship Program, that it helps lift our ranking a little higher. We could stand to add some money and children to our private scholarship programs, our private school scholarship programs, and that would help our ranking immensely. It would also help if we had more open enrollment programs. In other words, programs that allow public school students to attend school, any school in their district or any school in neighboring districts.
Let's talk about the business community and what it takes to operate a business, all sorts of rules and regulations, and not just on business, but the First in Freedom Index also measures regulatory freedom. Tell us a little bit more about what it is and where we rank.
Well, this is a catch-all for a lot of different things. What I focus on in this area is really tort reform and occupational licensing, because these are two areas that North Carolina could stand to improve. Our regulatory environment says a lot about how receptive we are to businesses. And of course, we want businesses to come to North Carolina. But if we burden them with regulation, if we burden entrepreneurs with regulation, make them get occupational licensing when it might not be necessary, then we stifle business. So I think it's critical out of all these four areas to make sure that our regulatory variable improves dramatically.
And right now, where do we rank?
We rank 36th in regulation, and there is plenty more progress I think we're going to make in upcoming legislative sessions to help make our regulatory scheme a little more friendly to business and a little more friendly to citizens.
Let's review then. Fiscal freedom, we rank number 16. Education freedom, number 18. Regulatory freedom, number 36, and healthcare freedom, number 46. Overall, the middle of the pack, number 23. Dr. Stoops, when you put together the data and started to really sift through all this to see in reality where North Carolina ranks compared to other states, did anything surprise you or stand out or perhaps present a special challenge or a special opportunity?
I don't think we were surprised, just because the models that we used for this index, the Mercatus Center and the Fraser Institute, really gave us a good sense of where North Carolina and some of the other states would stand. We borrowed some data from them. We looked at where they had the rank and their methodology. And so we had a sense of where North Carolina was going to be, so we knew it was going to land in the middle. The real question that we had to face was, first of all, we have lots of different types of data coming from different places. How do we standardize that data? How do we make it so that it's comparable to one another? That was the challenge from just a methodological point of view. But once we got through those challenges, I think we came up with a very solid way of evaluating where North Carolina stands in terms of freedom and where all the other states stand. And if you look at the states that really did well in this ranking, such as Indiana, Florida, these are states that are pretty well known for being very free, for having low taxes, lots of school choice, easy regulation, and really doing some good reform in the healthcare area. So it makes complete sense that Florida would be number one, followed by Indiana and some of the other states.
We've been talking about the new innovative tool created by the John Locke Foundation. It's called the First in Freedom Index, ranking North Carolina against other states in a variety of areas of freedom. Overall ranking number 23. We've been talking with Dr. Terry Stoops. He is Director of Research and Education Studies for the Locke Foundation. You can find out more about the First in Freedom rankings and the index at johnlocke.org. Terry, thank you.
Thank you.